Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. James from Junkyard Box here, back at you with another outdoor arena review. And today we are testing out a knife. And this is the LT Wright Gary Wines Bushcrafter. A thing of beauty right here. Now this is the second LT Wright knife to go through the outdoor arena. First one being the Bushcrafter HC, which I loved. It is so far my favorite blade that we've passed through the arena. Not only did I love it, but my girlfriend Kathleen loved it. She actually tested that knife for our review. If you haven't seen that review, feel free to check it out. And not only do I like this knife and the Bushcrafter, but my personal knife is the LT Wright GNS knife, the Saber version. I've had this knife over a year. Let me go ahead and compare these two. Both excellent blades. The Gary Wines is slightly bulkier, thicker, but yes, excellent blades. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get to testing this knife. Thank you for joining me. Stick around. The overall length of the blade is 8 7/8 inches. The cutting edge is 4 1/8 inches. The steel is 01 tool steel, 5/32 inch thick, 90-degree spine with a Scandi grind. The handles themselves are green micarta, handcrafted right here in the US in Ohio. As usual with LT Wright knives, it comes with the standard JRE Industries leather sheath, which is a handsome leather sheath, nicely stitched. It comes with a dangler loop. If you like that, it can be removed. It also comes with a loop here for your ferro rod, for a standard size ferro rod. I like it. The only problem is this knife has already been through many reviewers. It's traveled everywhere. It's been tested a lot. It's actually passed through the Gauntlet last year. So all the guys from the Gauntlet tested it out. Several members of the Outdoor Arena have already tested it out. Because of that, it is loosening up. I mean, this can fall easily out. And yeah, you can modify that or get yourself a custom sheath that'll fit a little tighter. But it does the job for now. One thing I do wish that they did at JRE Industries is made a hole here, a drain hole. So in case this knife was to fall in the water, you know, water's gonna be bad for the steel and for the leather. So I wish we had a small drain hole here. You know, not a deal breaker, but something that they can improve upon. So for the first testing of this knife, we are right beside the river. It's summertime. There are lots of small fish and crawdads out there, which is a very great food source. Even if you don't want to eat it, it makes great bait for fishing. So we got ourselves a couple of 3-liter bottles of soda, which people are just throwing away out here, and we just improvise with that, use garbage to our advantage and be resourceful. And we're gonna make a couple of fish traps or crayfish traps with this blade. After that, we're gonna go ahead and use this cottonwood log right here and make a 1-stick fire. You see where the curve ends around here? Let's just bring it down about 1 inch, and let's go ahead and just make the incision right there. Make some incisions. One, to help with the water, get the water in here, help this trap sink to the bottom. And two, to permeate the smell of the bait so it can attract the animals. Now we're going to be using chicken liver. We're really aiming to catch some crayfish, and they're scavengers. They love liver, so hopefully we get a good amount of them. Okay, now from here, I'm going to make an incision right here towards the middle. A little bit of a larger one. And this is going to be for our bank line. So pull out about 7 to 8 feet. Place this through. Place this through. You don't want to make the holes too large, so you don't want your prey to escape. If all we catch is minnows, well, that's a food source or a bait source, so we don't want them to escape. There we go. Okay, now to place some rocks on here to kind of anchor it down, help it anchor the bait down here. Attach this in here as much as you can. Both plastics are right against each other. I'm going to make an incision. 5-inch cord, whatever cordage you're using. Tighten this up. Okay, now for the other side. Exact same thing. And And I'm well aware that this isn't a very bushcrafty or traditional to be making traps out of garbage, but that's just the reality of the situation. It is 2016, and as much as we may romanticize and long for the days of pristine wilderness, that's just not the case. That's just not the reality. So, although my original plan with this knife was to make some peyote deadfalls with some sticks and some rocks, see if we can catch ourselves some mice, the reality, once again, of the situation is I think this trap is slightly more realistic for the everyday Joe. So here we go. We got the rocks here to anchor it. We got the trap. Of course, the animal goes in here to try to eat the bait, and it cannot get out. And this is just gonna hold it to a nearby, a nearby tree or rock, so it doesn't float off for whatever reason. And now we go ahead and place our bait. Hopefully we catch a few crayfish. And there we go. So just make a couple of the more traps. The more traps you have, of course, the higher chances of you catching something. So we're gonna make 4 traps in total and lay them in a small canal or stream. And so far the knife has worked great. Place this in here. I'm gonna use this stick to help it sink. I want to kind of get it in the muck so it's not floating around or moving around. I'm gonna attach the rest of my bank line to a nearby rock just to make sure it doesn't, for whatever reason, doesn't move from here. Okay, now I am in New Mexico right now. I live in Texas, and this is illegal in Texas doing this type of fish trapping. But in New Mexico, I don't have an issue. So just be sure if you do try to emulate this, you know your laws. You don't want to get in trouble. But this should be fine. So we're gonna leave this trap right here, and we'll be back. We'll check these out first thing in the morning. Hopefully we catch ourselves some breakfast. Well, it's the next morning, so let's go ahead and see if we caught anything. We got ourselves, oh yeah, I can see at least 4 of them in here. So this trap worked. Look at that. That's great. Okay, let's check the second trap. This trap only has 1, but he's a large-sized one. So we have a total of about 5 crayfish. It is by no means a large meal, but it's something. So I definitely consider these traps a success. Let's bring these guys over here. There's actually quite a few. Let's see. Okay. This one's a good size, definitely. This one's a good size. Three. I'll let this guy's quite small. I'll let these guys go. This one appears dead. Let him go as well. And there's this small one over here trying to make a getaway. I'll let him go too. Okay, now for over here, I only have 1 crayfish, and I believe there's a tadpole in here. Okay, this one's a fighter. Look at the size of this one. Okay, so for now for some woodwork. Now I'm gonna go ahead and make a 1-stick fire. So let's go ahead and baton down this cottonwood. And of course, with this blade being a Scandinavian grind and the 5/32 thick full tang blade, of course it's not giving me any issues. Okay, so let's go ahead and get some feather sticks going. In the meantime, you guys know that Cuervo Negro is always playing on the Junkyard Fox channel. How about we get him to play some tunes live in the meantime? Enjoy. We have enough feather sticks. Now let's go ahead and give that 90-degree spine a try. We all know what's going to happen here, but it's worth testing. Remove this. There we go. So let's start heating this up so we can boil some water and get to cooking our breakfast. So we're getting our fire nice and hot. Okay, we're gonna just try to beat the rain because it's about to rain. Now, in my last video, I got a lot of flack for throwing these guys to just boil. They wanted me to kill them first, a lot of viewers, so I'm gonna go ahead and do that. A test for the knife, tip strength, just behind the head. In here. Thank you, little guy. That's it, that'll kill him. Might make a couple of movements, but he's pretty much dead. All 4 crayfish have been dispatched. By the way, the first trap had about 5 of them. We let 2 of them go because they were too small. The second trap had only 1, but he was quite large. And the last 2 traps had nothing on them. So we have about 4 right here. I'm going to put them in the water and place them over the coals. Okay, it's been boiling for a couple minutes. Just let it boil for a few more, and we'll have our breakfast ready. Okay, these guys, I already drained the water. I'm letting them cool off because of the shell. They can burn you if you open it. They retain a lot of heat, so I'm just letting them cool off a little bit. Okay, let me just remove this tail. Here's a good little tail right here. We tried to skewer them Rainier style, but we're having some rains today here, which is so rare, but because of that we couldn't do that. I'm just removing the lower intestine here, the poop. Okay, so here we go. Good stuff, good easy food. Let's go and break open that tail. And our traps were a success. Our 1-stick fire was a success. And we have ourselves some breakfast, some wild food. Well, there you have it, folks. The LT Wright Gary Wines Bushcrafter knife. So we went ahead and made some soda bottle fish traps, which were a success. And we went ahead and made a one-stick fire, which, of course, with no surprise, it excelled at. So, of course, I always do a one-stick fire with fixed blades because that's something that they should be able to do. I don't baton often when I'm out in the wilderness, but it's a good test for a blade. And for the bottle traps, I really wanted to get it out of its comfort zone, do something a little different. So it did very great with that. The knife is very comfortable. The handle is very stout, nice and big. Okay, I really like it. The steel, of course, is excellent. It is still razor sharp. My only issues with it, well, one is the sheath. It is a little loose. Once again, that's just wear and tear. You can modify this. When you buy this, you can wet form this, or you can purchase a modified sheath, a custom sheath. And another issue for me personally, once again, this is personal, I like a thinner blade. 5/32 thick is a little thick for my taste. Not only that, but for my environment. I live in the desert, so I don't need something that thick. But maybe someone with larger hands, or they live up north. Last week I was in Colorado, and this came very much in handy when I was batoning some wood over there. So it's an excellent knife. Excelled, of course. No surprise on that. So if you like this video, go ahead and give me a thumbs up. Subscribe to my channel if you haven't yet to keep up with my adventures. And I'll see you guys next week with another video. So go outside and get your boots dirty.